Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to finally share my DIY front porch makeover on a budget. I'll be painting my shutters and front door and sharing front porch decorating ideas for a modern farmhouse look. So I've got tons of repurposing furniture, DIY porch furniture, and DIY porch decor in this video to give you a lot of decorating ideas for when you're decorating on a budget. This front porch makeover is the third video in my DIY home projects series, and I love sharing affordable ways to make home updates on a budget. I want to say a huge thank you to Jaws for sponsoring today's video. And now let's start this front porch makeover by removing my shutters from the siding so I can start painting my shutters black. As you can see, I was trying to use this bench that I had here in order to reach the shutters, but it was just not very stable, so I had Derek move that so I could bring a step ladder in and take the shutter down. And I did originally intend to take all of the shutters down myself, but it was just a little bit difficult and was making me feel nervous with the wobbly step stool, so I had Derek take the rest of them down. And while he is doing that, I'm just going to start cleaning my front door since I will be painting that as well. And to clean my front door, I am going to be using my Jaws hardwood cleaner, which I will talk about more a little later in the video. We were going to be painting everything black, which made this super easy prep work. Since the color previously was a dark blue and we were going to a darker color, that meant that the only prep work I really needed to do was to wipe everything down really well with this Jaws hardwood cleaner and then also take off the kickstand here, and I was ready to go. However, if you are going to be doing any painting and you're going from a darker color to a lighter color, then you definitely would want to consider investing in a really good primer to put on before you start your painting. Cleaning a surface thoroughly before you paint it is such an important part of the prep work and making sure that you have a great paint job. And I loved using this Jaws hardwood cleaner here because it definitely was cleaning effectively, but it also was able to cut through that greasy residue that was left behind by the adhesive. So I definitely planned on having Derek take the storm door off before I started painting, but when he looked at it, he said that he didn't feel comfortable taking it off. He didn't know how to. So we decided to just leave it on, and I left that clip in because that's just real life. But now I'm going to go over to where he's laid the shutters in our driveway, and I'm going to start cleaning them with that same Jaws hardwood cleaner. While I wipe down these shutters, I wanted to talk to you guys about Jaws cleaners. A ton of you are probably already familiar with them since I use them in pretty much all of my videos, but if you haven't heard of them before, Jaws actually stands for Just Add Water System, and they are on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic bottles. Jaws offers all-natural, eco-friendly cleaning products that are safe and highly effective for both indoor and outdoor use. I mean, just look at how dirty this cloth is and how clean the shutters are after only using the Jaws hardwood cleaner and microfiber cloth. Before discovering Jaws, I would have never expected this from a natural cleaning solution. I'd tried a variety of other brands with just no success, but once I discovered the Jaws products, it has completely changed my cleaning game for the better. I mentioned earlier that Jaws is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic bottles, and they have made it so simple for us to switch to a more eco-friendly way of cleaning. When you purchase your Jaws cleaners kit, you receive labeled spray bottles and cleaning concentrate pods. You just fill your spray bottle to the fill line, insert the concentrate pod, twist the top on, and give a little shake to mix your cleaning solution. When you've used up all of your cleaner, don't throw the bottle out, simply refill it with water and change out your concentrate pod to mix more solution. It's seriously that simple. If you are wanting to try out Jaws cleaners for yourself, you can click the link in my description box and use code LOVINGLIFE to save 25% off of your order. So definitely make sure that you click that link in my description box and use code LOVINGLIFE at checkout to save 25% off of your Jaws order. If you have watched any of my previous DIY makeover videos, then you might recognize this roller brush and paint dip pan set. I have now used it to paint my kitchen countertops, paint my bedroom furniture, and now my shutters and my front door, and it went strong through all of them. And this is actually a great money saving tip. You can make your supplies last for multiple projects as long as you just take care of them. So every time I used it, I made sure to clean everything thoroughly and really not rush the process, and of course not throw them away. And I have been able to reuse this for 3 projects now. So if you are doing house projects on a budget, definitely make sure that you're taking care of your supplies so that you can reuse them instead of buying new every single time. For anyone wanting to know what kind of paint I'm using, it is the Valspar Season Flex in the color Tricorn Black. Okay, so this is what they look like with just 1 coat of paint on them, and they still clearly have to dry. I just finished putting the paint on them, but they are looking so good. I'm really excited to see the end result. So now while these are drying, I'm gonna go work on painting the front door. I am using that same roller set angled paintbrush and Tricorn Black on my front door, and this is going to be for the trim around the door as well as the outside of the door itself. Tricorn Black, from what I understand, is the darkest black that Lowe's actually offers, and I did get it in a flat finish. Looking back on it, I maybe should have gotten it in some kind of semi-gloss finish just because having it flat black was the look that I was going for, but trying to keep it clean has proven to be very difficult. So if you are going to be painting anything outside, you might want to research that a little bit more than I do, because I have to admit, I didn't research it at all. So I also wanted to share with you guys that the can of paint that I am using was only $22. It was the cheapest brand option that they had at my local Lowe's, and I just wanted to share that with you guys to remind you that you can do these things on a budget. You do not have to listen to the salespeople. They are there to sell you. Just remember that. You don't have to spend $65 for a can of paint. You can completely refresh the look of your house for just $22 like I am. For anyone who is wanting to know, I didn't take the doorknob or the door knocker off for this first coat just because it was evening time and I didn't want to go all night with them off of the door. But I did take them off the next day when I did the second coat of paint. Okay guys, this is what it is looking like after 1 coat. It is the next day now, so it's been drying overnight, and I think it looks amazing. I think it looks really good. I probably wouldn't even have to do a second coat on these ones, but I'm going to anyway just to make sure. I'll show you guys the door also. Now with the door, I definitely have to do a second coat because I can see some brush strokes, and then there's also some like small spaces that I didn't get very well because it was starting to get dark when I was finishing up last night. Here's a perfect example. You can see like some of that blue in there still. On the edge right here, but you can really see the difference between what the blue was and what the black is. And then also, like I said, there's just some brush strokes and stuff, so I'm definitely gonna have to do a second coat here, but overall I think it's looking really good. I'm super happy with my choice, and I will show you guys after 2 coats. Alright, here we are with 2 coats on the shutters, and they are perfect. I am so in love with them. We've got all 6 shutters done with 2 coats, and I did the doors, so I'll show you that too. Just this paint is going to completely transform the space, but we have a few other things that we're going to be doing as well, so I'll show you those things. Okay, while the paint on the door is drying, we are going to start working on these flower beds here, and we're going to cut down this tree, pull out these bushes, replant those plants up front, and put down some black mulch. So let's get started. Looking back at this footage, I am so embarrassed at how much of a wreck this area was before we tackled this project, but that's okay though because it is a total transformation by the end and no longer an eyesore. But once I got everything moved out of the way, I could start working on the flower beds. I'm going to rake out all of the leaves and then of course pull all of the weeds and also dig up the plants that were in here. We're going to be replanting some of these plants and also taking out the tree and the bushes here. We're just going to completely transform this space. Originally, our plan was to completely clear out these flower beds, pull up all of the rock and the liner here, and start from scratch. But ultimately, we decided not to do that because it ended up saving us a lot of money to just keep the liner down there and keep the rocks as an added layer of protection against weeds and just mulch over them. The layer of rocks that was here wasn't that thick to begin with, so we were able to just mulch over top of it and saved a ton that way. Another way that we were able to save some money on this project was by replanting these plants into another flower bed. So we did not want them here closest to the house. We wanted to completely clear out the space, but we were doing a little bit of planting in the front flower bed. So we eventually just moved them up there after we took the bushes out, and it filled in that space nicely without us having to purchase any additional plants or greenery. This one here was so difficult to get out. The dirt underneath was so compacted and filled with rocks, so I actually had to ask Derek to do it for me. So I gave up, he went over here, and he eventually got the job done. I didn't feel quite so bad though because he really struggled with it as well, so at least I know it wasn't just me. I am going to use this Krylon exterior spray paint to paint some decor pieces while Derek is finishing up in that flower bed. And before I can start painting them, I'm just going to wipe them down really well using my Jaws kitchen cleaner and degreaser. This baby rocking chair ends up being my very favorite part of this entire makeover. It just came out so beautifully and I'm totally obsessed with it. And would you guys believe that I actually got it for free when Kinsley was an infant? So about 5 years ago, I was riding through a neighborhood, somebody had it out to their curb for trash pickup, and I knocked on the door and asked if I could take it, and they said yes. So I picked it out of their trash and it's been mine ever since. This little outdoor side table I got on clearance at Kohl's a few years back, so I already had this as well and just completely transformed it with the spray paint. And this is always my #1 tip for doing any home projects on a budget. Always, always, always shop your house first. So while I was painting these things, Derek was pulling out the tree in that flower bed, and using YouTube magic, I'm going to show you that it's all gone. It would have just been way too long of a process to film. It did take him quite a while, but we are going to show you how we pulled these bushes out of this other flower bed. I just used a tether and we used our car to pull them right out of the ground. It was super easy and simple and saved a ton of money by not having to hire a landscaper or a contractor or anything like that. After we pulled these bushes out, I raked all of the dirt back into the holes to put it back in place, and honestly just created more work for myself. I don't know why I did that because I needed to re-dig them to replant those plants in this flower bed. But while I was doing that, Derek was going to put the shutters onto the house for me, which I definitely appreciated. So he's just going to be using the same screws that we had before and putting them back into the same screw holes just to make it as easy as possible for us. If you see me walking back and forth holding Sawyer a bunch, it's because she had woken up from her afternoon nap around this time, and she is always so cranky when she wakes up from that nap. She was just crying and clinging, so I did need to take a little bit of time to comfort her before I could come back out and help Derek. Putting the shutters back up definitely made them very dirty, so I did need to go ahead and wipe them down once more with that Jaws hardwood cleaner, and then we were going to move on to doing the black mulch. Once the shutters were hung, I just wanted to wipe them down again with that Jaws hardwood cleaner since they had gotten dirty and some fingerprints while we were hanging them. And I have to admit that by this time, I was running out of steam, you guys. I was so tired and feeling unmotivated, and every time that happens to me doing these makeover videos, I always go back to my friend Kristen's channel. It is called Kristen Casper. I watch some of her old DIY videos, and it instantly puts me in the mood to keep on going and pushing through. I know that I have talked about her on my channel plenty of times before. She's a great friend of mine, and I'm just completely obsessed with the content on her YouTube channel. She does vlogs, day in the lives, cleaning videos, and also those DIY projects. And honestly, Kristen is the person who encouraged me the most to just go ahead and start doing these home updates and DIYing everything, and I am so thankful to her for encouraging that confidence within me. So I'm gonna make sure that I link Kristen's channel in the description box for you guys. Definitely make sure that you check her out. When we were finished with all of the mulching, it was finally time to start decorating, and I'm first going to start with kind of the focal or centerpiece of everything. It is this galvanized bench that I got last year from Kirkland's, and it's just been left out in all seasons and all weather, so I wanted to wipe it down really well with my Jaws disinfectant cleaner to get it sparkling clean and disinfected, since we will be using it as an actual seating area. And then I'll style it with some pillows and start working on all of the decor that will surround it. So pretty much everything that you're going to see me use for decor to style this space, I already owned, and I'm just reusing or repurposing for this project. Like literally every single thing that you see on the screen right now, I already had. And honestly, most of it was either free, thrifted, or was a clearance find. We did have to purchase these ferns. We ended up getting a total of 3 of them, and we also had to purchase some flowers, but I already had planters, so I just pulled those out of the shed. And we ended up going with marigolds for 2 reasons. One, they are supposed to repel wasps and bees, and we have a terrible problem with those in our area, so let's keep our fingers crossed that these work and that those little stingers go away. But the other part of it is marigolds are super cheap. For this 8-pack, it was only $2.98. So I only filmed myself potting 1 set of marigolds, but I ended up with a total of 4 planters, so I'll make sure that I show all of those at the end. But another thing that I am doing is just getting this tabletop tiki torch. This was a brand new purchase this year, but it was only $5 from Lowe's, and since we're planning on using this seating area, I thought it would be perfect to have this to repel mosquitoes and other bugs. Moving on to the front step, I'm just going to clear everything off, and then I'll sweep it all down before I can start putting any decor over here. And I am just going to be using my outdoor broom and sweeping all of the steps and the sidewalk. Unfortunately, we don't have a power washer. I really wish that we did, but they are just so expensive, and we don't currently own one. It wasn't in the budget to buy one for this video. Maybe sometime in the future, but for now, the broom is going to have to do. The buffalo check mat is one that I already owned, and then I just layered on top of it this new black one that says hello, and then I'm going to style the steps over here. Now, we have a very small front step area, so I definitely wanted to keep this super simple and minimal and not overcrowded or have anything get in the way of actually using these steps and the door. Throughout the day, we had been in and out of the house, and the glass door had just gotten a lot of fingerprints and smudges on it, so I'm using my Jaws glass cleaner to wipe down the storm door as well as the little window next to it, just to make sure that I have a streak-free, completely clean glass finish for when I do my after shots. So this is actually the next day, and we were just feeling like there was a little something missing, so I went out and got this 2-prong plant hanger, and I'm going to use it to hang one of the ferns as well as our bird feeder. We previously had the bird feeder over in our front yard tree. We've had it for about 3 years now, so I didn't have to buy a new one. I just moved it over here and it ended up working out really well. I'm absolutely in love with the way that it looks, and I love that the birds come this close to the house to eat the food out of it. Okay, just a quick recap here. I wanted to remind you guys how much of an overgrown, neglected mess this was before, so that you could really get the full picture and the full transformation in the after shots. Okay guys, here is the final reveal, and I am so in love with it. It came out exactly how I had envisioned, and I am just so proud that my husband and I were able to do this ourselves on such a tight budget. For anyone who is interested in seeing an in-depth front porch tour, I am going to be doing that over in my Instagram stories today to go over each decor piece, what the inspiration was for it, how much it cost me, how much it cost to repurpose or DIY all of these things, and the total cost of how I transformed this space for under $200. So if you are interested in any of that information, like I said, definitely make sure that you follow me over on Instagram. My handle is at lovinglifeasmegan, and it will be linked in the description box for you. This is going to be everything for today's DIY makeover on a budget. I hope that you guys were motivated and inspired to tackle your own makeover projects. If you were, definitely give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Check out that description box to save 25% on your Jaws order. Thanks so much to Jaws for sponsoring today's video, and thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one.